Ragazzi, bentornati a coloro che ci seguono adesso, che ci stanno già seguendo e tra quelli che arrivano tra poco. Continuiamo questo ciclo di live. Stasera faccio questa parte di introduzione dal buio, ma piccolezze. Continuiamo questo ciclo di live con un super ospite questa sera. Come fatto nei giorni scorsi, vi chiedo di farci sapere se ci siete, chi siete e dove siete, magari anche, e vi chiedo di condividere questo video. Questa sera l'intervista sarà in inglese, non in italiano. Avremo un super ospite di cui vi parlo tra pochissimo e quindi vi chiedo di fare le domande se possibile in inglese. Se avete domande in italiano perché avete più difficoltà nel scrivere in inglese, in qualche maniera cerchiamo di farlo. Di cui vi parlo tra pochissimo. Ok, allora vedo che ci sono già 13 persone, tra poco ne vedremo altre. Come al solito, massima libertà. Questa sera parleremo di behavioral design. Cos'è il behavioral design? Ve lo spiega tra poco Omri, che è il nostro ospite. Sarà una live diversa dal solito perché vedremo un argomento diverso, meno campagne e più, diciamo, dal punto di vista teorico e quello che ci sta dietro per far convertire poi un utente o comunque per farlo entrare nel modo corretto all'interno del nostro brand e del nostro sito e appunto toccheremo vari argomenti. L'intervista questa sera verrà fatta da Pietro in inglese, che tra pochi secondi potete vedere, a Omri, che è appunto questo nostro grande ospite, che ha esperienza internazionale di tantissimi anni e che tra l'altro è collegato con noi da Israele in questo momento. Ok, adesso mi sposto e dovrete vedere anche loro tra pochi secondi. Ok, ciao ragazzi, hi everyone, do you listen to me?
Yes.
Okay, Omri? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Pietro, it's your turn. I think that...
Hey guys, 21 people already connected with us. Well, I start to introduce the things in Italian and then I will explain, Omri, what I said. Grazie ragazzi di esserci, è un argomento molto difficile diciamo in Italia da trovare. I corsi sono di interaction design, sono quasi tutti quanti in inglese, sono molto costosi e quindi ho pensato di portarvi questo ospite che è Omri. Volevo raccontarvi come l'ho scoperto. Un amico mi diede un libro da leggere che si chiamava Come creare prodotti che creano dipendenza. Ho detto, questo è interessante, creerò un prodotto che crea dipendenza e divento ricco. Come quando noi la mattina ci sediamo sul water e ci mettiamo col telefonino a scorrere il feed di Facebook, quella è una dipendenza che ci ha creato un grande prodotto. Allora ho iniziato ad indagare, ho trovato un gruppo e ho trovato un video bellissimo dove spiegava con un'animazione cos'era la gamification e perché creava dipendenza. E a quel punto gli ho detto, io voglio conoscere questo tizio. Abbiamo iniziato a lavorare insieme, abbiamo fatto una serie di progetti che sono di altissimo livello a livello internazionale. E volevo fargli una domanda, tanto per cominciare, volevo capire se potete commentare qua. Chi di voi sa cos'è il behavioral design? Fate un segno. Nessun segno. Mi sa che nessuno lo sa, comunque c'è anche un delay sicuramente nella trasmissione. Io partirei con la prima domanda. Omri, I explained to our crowd how we met through the group and through your animation video that was so cool. You're not doing anymore. I was addicted. I stopped to watch the TV series on Netflix to watch your movies, and then you stopped to do it. And okay, someone is writing, I know, and someone is saying, I don't know. So let's start with the first question. Many people know what is user experience, but nobody knows, or just few people in the world knows what is behavioral designing. Can you explain us?
Well,
before can you, I forgot the most important things. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Omri O. I have a behavioral design studio here in Israel. What we do is we use the behavioral sciences, so that's neuroscience, behavioral economics, practical psychology, and gamification, game design, to fit products to their customers, essentially. Now, the difference is, so behavioral design doesn't necessarily only deal with digital. So we do, with Pietro, we also do a lot of digital products. We also do physical products, cafeterias, how to make people eat healthier, how to get political candidates to have people vote for them, and so on. So it's basically brain hacking. So that's me. Okay, so difference between UX and behavioral design. So UX is something... you said a lot of people know what that means, but it's a bit confusing because user experience. What isn't part of a user experience? Is marketing part of the user experience? Is the commercial part of the user's experience? Is the copy on the website part of the user experience? Everything, in fact, anything to do with the product, from marketing until the person has signed out and received his letter on the email. Saying thank you for leaving, or whatever. Please come back. That whole thing is the experience. So there's a user experience actually on his own building a website. What actually, in reality, is user experience is that people tend to. It tends to be a graphic designer that has read a book about user experience, or a product person who's read a book about user experience, and so it's essentially designing the interface. So how to make a clever interface design, that's what UX is known of today. So if a graphic designer does it, it tends to be beautiful and emotional, but not very functional. If a product person does it, so it tends to be very functional with lots of tabs, but not very emotional, not always, often very confusing, not simple. Behavioral design is very different. Behavioral design starts with the science. So again, neuroscience, behavioral economics, practical psychology, and game design, and we can add more to those. And it's all about how the human brain interfaces with the product. So we have to know, for example, so a behavioral designer will tell you, so if a UX designer tells you that the action button, the login or the sign up button on a website needs to be bright colored. So a behavioral designer will tell you why. He'll be able to tell you that it's because the brain, if it's contrasted against the background, maybe it's a bit red or orange, then the brain of the user has to look at it. The eyes have to look at it because it might be from prehistory. It reminds them of a poisonous bug on a leaf that you have to be aware of. That's why our eyes always move to movement. That's why our eyes always move to things that are brightly colored and in contrast to their environment, to the background. So a behavioral designer can tell you what chemicals are being released in the brain at every decision point in a website. So when I design a website, part of the things I write down is there going to be a dopamine release? Is there going to be a serotonin, a cortisol release in this point? Where are they stressed? Where are they not stressed? So we can really make a product human-proof. So, and again, it's not only digital products, it's all sorts of products, because the same science can be used in different places.
I saw a post from you some times ago where you were talking about airports, how the sign was put in an airport where you get in or what you see. Can you tell us something more about that? Because so people can understand that behavioral design is everywhere. Just an example.
So just on signs, the signs at an airport have one of three fonts: Frutiger, Helvetica, and another one, that are all a very specific type of font that you can see very easily. There's a very big ratio between the size of the sign and how far away you need to be to see it. The style of the sign is consistent, except for in some airports. So in Zurich airport, they don't do this, since it's very confusing. But if you have a yellow sign that tells you where the taxi is, then that it will continue to be yellow where the public transportation is for the rest of the airport. So that if you're looking to get out and get to the train or to the taxi, you won't have to read the sign. You'll just see yellow and you'll know to walk to that direction. Also, airports have, for example, a lot of natural light. All new airports, you'll notice, have lots of very big windows and a skylight. And they're there to let in a lot of natural light, because natural light has been shown in a few experiments, especially by Walmart in America, to raise sales by 40%. On the other hand, if you're stuck in security, after a few minutes, every extra 10 minutes that you're in security is a less, I don't remember, I think like $30 less, or a certain amount of money less that you'll spend in the duty-free. Not because you don't have time in the duty-free, but because you're stressed and you're upset, and then so the whole thing is designed not so much to help you fly, but to make you buy as much as possible in the duty-free.
I have a question. I would like to come back on the digital product, because most of the people of our crowd is related to digital products. There are affiliate marketers who send tons of traffic on a landing page, and the design of a landing page makes the big difference on how much money about their ROI, and so it's really important. And one of the big dilemma of these people, of us as well, is, for example, a landing page should be long form, short form. Why? We want a long landing page, we want a short landing page, we want to use bright color, big images. What can make really the difference? And how can we decide which is the best strategy?
So, of course, the first rule is the best strategy is the strategy that fits your customers. So different customers might have different responses to different websites. But just a very quick note on the long form, short form. In the past, people didn't like to scroll. Scrolling was something considered annoying. Today, long form is standard, and so our brain is used to scrolling down long websites. The rule is, if it's still interesting and compelling, if it's still moving you, and if you really want to keep going, then so as long as the website doesn't start bullshitting you at one point, you're going to continue scrolling. But it's important to keep in mind that the longer you scroll, especially with complex websites, so you could have a nice, beautiful landing screen, a screen on the above the fold, and then 3 columns of text below it, and then you keep scrolling, and there's illustrations and arrows, and things are moving, and you're getting shown many different products or different themes. The more you scroll, the more tired you get. It's called mental fatigue. And so the more tired you get, you're not tired as if you want to go to bed. Your brain is tired. It doesn't want to. It's willing. It wants the information, so it will continue scrolling, but it becomes less emotionally invested. And so the longer they end up scrolling, if they get to the bottom of a long scroll website, then they're probably not going to sign up for your service.
I read a lot of things about these things about the cognitive load. There is a rule of thumb that says, for example, I read that it's better to don't put more than 16 elements, blocks inside the page and the scrolling, because then the load is too much. And there is a rule of thumb that you can advise.
Again, a rule of thumb is hard because it depends what the website is. So, for example, when we designed a background system for developers, a back-end system for developers who are maintaining very complex systems. And when we did that, the customers are the type of people who want to dig into small details. So you have to show them small details in a way that doesn't make them tired. But that sort of landing page would make you would make you and me, we wouldn't be able to we pass the fold and then we'd quit. So different products have different customers have different tendencies. But as a rule of thumb for the regular public, 16 is a lot. So I would say you shouldn't pass 5 or 6 sections. So if you pass 5 or 6 sections, and that means that the screen is split up. So, for example, it's a white background and then a color background and then a white background again. Those are 3 sections. 5 or 6 would be the limit, I would say. And there are ways to get around it. So information can become less stressful, for example, if it's told in a narrative, in a story. So if your design leads them through a story, For example, if you want to say, I have a timeline, 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to happen over a certain amount of time, then if this is written 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just information. But if it's graphically told in a way of a story, then it reduces mental load, just like splitting the screen up. So if I had one big white screen with all the information on it, it would be very, very tiring. But if you have different segments, then your brain says, okay, reset, now we're in this subject. Reset, now we're in this subject. Another trick is to have anchor links. So at the top of the website, you'd have links to the different sections you're going to have. So you're going to have the top, and then who we are, our product, our team. So you'd have a link to all those three, and if anyone links, it clicks on the link, it goes directly to that section. This way, people can skip most of the landing page. But really is the most compelling thing, unless you're a very, very new product, so you have to explain what we are at the beginning. But essentially, you're trying to get them as fast as you can. So again, the longer they scroll, the less likely they are to buy. So the most compelling arguments first, and then move down. So most compelling argument is why. Why are we doing what we're doing? And then it's what. So what is the product? So why, you can also call it the problem, the pain. So you have this beautiful fold with a picture, and then you scroll down, it says, okay, we understand. We're doing this to save the planet. We're doing this to save you money. We're doing this because we're the best designers in the world, and this is our passion. And then under that, what is our product? And those are the three that are proven to get them to click after the product, to get them to click the most.
Interesting. Another thing that I read a lot about and was really interesting for me was about nudging and microcopy. I read that example of the UK government that used the nudging in the bill for the electricity to convince the people to pay the bill, actually, and but in a gentle way. What you can say about the microcopy?
So microcopy and nudging, they're very, very important. There are microcopy experts. We do that too. Microcopy, first we'll explain what it is, because copy is the text in the website, that's the sales text. But microcopy is the little text, the stuff that's on the buttons, it's stuff underneath the button, error messages, things like that. So the way to explain how effective it can be is if I give you, let's say we want you to sign up for some service that's freemium. So it's free, but then there's a premium element behind it. So the most important thing is to get you to sign up. And then, so we have a nice big sign up button in the top and everywhere on the website. We're trying to get people to click on. It's huge, and it says sign up. But I'm not sure if it's free. So a user needs to be told that it's free again. So if you put just below the button a small sentence says, don't worry, it's free, or don't worry, we don't charge for the first 2 months, or don't worry, some sort of feeling to calm them down, they're more likely to press on it. It's also a guard against people who are too creative in their button design. So sometimes convention, sometimes the way things are done generally, like by everyone, are the best things to do. So you don't always want to invent the wheel. For example, a button that says sign up or log in, we all know what that means. But if it says join the team or come participate or be a member, that might be confusing. Even though be a member, let's say I'm trying to sign you up to be a member of some group, and it says become a member, it makes me think of it, because it's another decision point, it's another point in mental fatigue. I'm not sure. I have to think, wait, am I becoming a member of a newsletter? Why are you phrasing it like that? Why aren't you calling it just sign up like everyone else does? So it's always great to be new, except when it bothers the UI. Nudging, and that was a great example you brought up, the experiment with the UK government, and so lots of governments since. So they sent the bill, a parking fine, and then they say on the fine, for example, there's a lot of these, but on the fine it says 75 or 85% of people in your area pay this fine within the first 2 weeks, or pay this fine quickly. And that creates sort of a social feeling that says, wait a minute, I want to be part of that 75%. I don't want to be the baddies. And so people tend to pay the fine more. Nudging is everywhere. The best example of nudging, or the stupidest, but best example of nudging, is in urinals. So a urinal where you pee standing up, right, for men. And people tend to not, they don't care where they pee, and they pee on the floor, and they pee all sorts of places because men are disgusting. So what they did is some guy in Holland, he just put an etch, a drawing of a fly on the urinal, just next to the hole. And what it did is, humans, apparently men have this need to aim at something when they pee. And so they aim at the fly, and it reduced the drip from the pee by 80%, which is crazy. 80% less cleaning of the toilet by the cleaning lady, just because of a little drawing of a fly. So now they're everywhere, all over the world. Nudging is all about that. It's all about a little change that you don't notice. No one had a big sign that says, don't pee on the floor. It's a little thing you don't notice that pushes you to do the thing that we want you to do, or to make a choice. This is called choice architecture. The choices that are in front of you are more than just, so if I give you an option, you can choose A or B. So choice architecture means I can push you to choose, if for example, I add a C. So let's do this in sales. This is a good example. You have a product that costs $100. Another product, a bit premium, that costs $150. So if people tend to do 70% will buy the basic, and another 30% will buy the premium. If you add a third option, a super premium option, that costs $1,000 and is crazy and no one should buy it, it's true, very few people will pay for that $1,000, but more people will suddenly move to the middle option, which is now premium. So now you'll have 30%, I'm making the numbers up, but it's roughly 30% the basic, 70% the premium, and then hardly anyone the super premium. Just by changing the choice without telling them what to buy. And of course we have to remember, well, I'll talk about this later, but of course we have to remember that there's also the option of clicking away. So any choice architecture you have also has the choice of doing nothing, or the choice of default. And we'll get to that later.
Okay. We have some question, but maybe we can answer later, because someone is asking if we have some example of good websites. What do you think that is a very good website? And yeah, there is the blog. Someone found your blog, and we can give them later some advice to some reference as a good website, as a good landing page. I have a question that was not planned. We are talking about changes. We are talking about choices. We are talking about microcopy. But practically, for example, for us, that we send tons of traffic to our landing page, and we spend money. We spend some time. We spend even $100,000 a day sending traffic to landing pages. In percentage, there is some study that can tell us how big could be the improvement of the ROI.
Well, again, ROI is a big issue because it depends on the money that they bill. But we can do conversion. We can talk about conversion. That's different for different websites, of course, in different groups. Some websites will be really happy with a 0.5% conversion. Other websites will be sad with less than 10% conversion. This is just different. But there are tips. There are ways to better the conversion. So say you send traffic in. You're sending traffic in from a certain place. For example, an advertisement, a Facebook link, or something. That advertisement has a picture, it has a logo, it has an icon. And so when the potential customer clicks through and gets to the website, sometimes the website looks nothing like the ad. So you have a beautiful picture of a woman in a bikini and and the logo in white that's just some font. And then suddenly they go in and they see it's a big, colorful logo with a picture of a truck, and they don't know, so it disorients them. And when that happens, a lot of people click away. So you have to have a fit between the source of the traffic, and they have to come to a place that's familiar. It has to look. They have to recognize it when they arrive. And then the moment they arrive, what are they doing? What are they expecting, not only by the brand, but what are they expecting by the product? So I had a customer who was dealing between Africa, is helping Israeli companies or European companies connect to other companies in Africa or people in Africa. And so he had a website and it was facing everyone. But the people who are coming to him from the African side are expecting something very different from the people coming to him from the European or the Israeli side. These people are looking for a different utility. So if the African side wants to network more than everything else, so you want to see a lot of people. So you want to see just the background picture. It needs to be a background picture of lots of people, lots of connections, lots of a picture of people networking. While on the European, on the Israeli side, they want to see their products being sold in Africa. That's a very different expectation. So the image has to be something more fitting of sales, trucks. So have lots of trucks coming out of a cargo hold or something like that in Africa. So little things like that matter. And then again, you have to think about where their eye moves next. So the moment they come in, they say, okay, that's familiar. I see this logo. I've seen this picture. This is what I'm looking for. Identify with this. Now, first I have to know what they want from me. Even if you want to scroll down the page, right? So you've just sent 1 million people into a website. Even if they want to scroll down and see more, they want to know what the end is. So you have to have a big button that says the end, right? That's the action button. It has to say, contact us, connect with us, leave your email, something, whatever it is. So I know what's expected of me. And now I'll scroll and see if I really want to leave my email. Because when it just says click here, which is what it was, I think it was something click here or some other silly phrase that wasn't clear what they wanted. In that case, I think we raised the conversion from 0.2% to 2%, which is pretty good for that sort of website. And it really is just by simplifying the text, making it easy, and having 2 landing pages for different audiences, which for you, of course, is obvious, but for this business wasn't.
Yeah, it's not. We have 3 minutes left, and I want to ask you the big question. Give us 5 tips, UX tips, behavioral design tips, not UX tips, because UX, we can find information about UX, and that can change our life.
Yeah, okay. Well, the good thing about landing pages is that you don't need a behavioral designer. It's great to have one, it's better, but UX is so many landing pages that that at least this section is pretty well trotted. So let's do 5. Okay, so the first is you have to understand where your customer's eyes are going to be. We tend to think, so for example, for English speaking, Italian, any language that reads from left to right. So you expect that the user will start his journey with his eyes at the top left of the screen, scroll right, down in diagonal, and then right again, like he's reading. And that's technically true. So that most eyes will start at the top left. But today's websites, they don't continue under that pattern. They immediately run to the most striking, shiny object on the website. And this is because we have this historical brain that's telling us that might be dangerous, right? So it's 3 things that will pull someone's eye. It will be a shiny contrast, like the action button. It can be a picture, and it could be anything that's moving. Any movement will move your eye to look at it. So you have to know where you're moving the eyes and why. So a lot of companies will have an action button, but a commercial or a picture that's moving next to it. And then the eyes will just skip that action button and go directly to the to the image, and then flip backwards and go flip to some big piece of text, and then flip back to another picture. Guide the eyes in a way that's that makes them go through your content in the right order. So you don't want them to read how we do what we do before they read what we do. Another thing, number 2, would be so you have to, and we talked about this before, is choice architecture. So you have to understand what the choices the customer sees are. So if you're selling 2 products, like we said before, you might want to add a 3rd option. But you have to also know that if you've made them too tired, if the choice is too complicated. So if it's try basic or premium, and then underneath that you have a list of 10 different things that might, in a graph that's telling you how these 2 things are different from each other, that decision becomes hard. Suddenly you have to weigh these things, and one, maybe I should think about this, and you click away. You say, this is a hard decision, I'll do it later. So you have to make decisions easy, and you have to always know that there's a decision to click away. That's just like if you have 2 choices, the 3rd choice is to click away. But most important in choice architecture is the default. So people most often let the default run. And a lot of people abuse this. So I don't know, there was a while back, they don't do this so much today, where Skype, you used to download Skype, and while you install, they had a pre-checked box, already checked, that you didn't even notice, in gray, in light gray, so you couldn't see it, that says, I also want to turn MSN into my search and Explorer into my default browser. This is a default option. So you have to know when to give them a default option. That pissed people off so much that no one's using any of those products anymore. And Ryanair did this as well, and they got a lot of flack. You want to, but defaults are important. So, for example, a gentler way to do it would be, you know how you have 3 or 4 options, and then one of them has recommended next to it. So the fact that it's recommended becomes the default. I sort of feel that I trust you. You're recommending it because it's the easiest to install, it's the most common, or whatever it is. And so that's the default, and I tend to do what's recommended. 3rd thing would be, it's called priming. How to prime your customers. So understand that everyone comes in with some baggage in their head. So when I come into a website, and even if I've just come in after I saw a number written on a wall next to me that's a high number that says 900, and the website, and I go into a website with bags that cost 20, I'll think those bags are cheap. Just because I saw a number that's higher. The brain is primed in a way, the brain works in a way that if I say the word banana, without even having any power over it, your brain starts pulling out words like monkey, like yellow, to sort of try to get ahead of the conversation, to get ready for it. So studies show that if you show people high numbers, then they will think that the prices are cheaper than if you show them low numbers. So if I show you the number 20 and then I show you $100 product, you'll think it's cheap. If I show you the number 200 and then I show you a $100 product, you'll think it's expensive. The other way around. You'll think it's expensive just because you saw a different number, which is crazy. So priming is very, very important. You not necessarily doing it. I'll give you just one crazy other example. Just by saying the words credit card, if you somehow have a sign that says credit card or a picture of a credit card before going into a shop, then people coming out of the shop, when you interview them, will remember the products as being, they'll remember how good the products are, and they won't so much remember the price of the products that they saw in the shop. But if you say the word cash, if you somehow put the word cash or a picture of a dollar bill outside, the people inside coming out of the shop will remember the money and will not so much remember how much they love the product. Just from a word that was sitting outside of that shop. So priming is important. Know how your customers are primed. So if, in your case, it would be if a website is trying to offer them something at a certain price, and that's on the landing page, maybe you want to put a high number in the commercial, because then they'll have a high number in the commercial, and then they'll look at the just a number. It doesn't even have to be a dollar number. Just put the number 764, and when they go in, they'll see 300. They'll go, you know what, that's cheap. All right, so another thing, number 4 would be the website. Think of a website as a path, as a story. We talked about this. So a website has to, a good landing page should lead the customer's eyes and with a story. So you want, the point is like a tree. So at any point in the story, you want them to be able to jump out and buy your product. But if they don't, you want to continue them down your story so that they don't accidentally get tired, get annoyed, and leave. The story is always why we're doing what we're doing. That's the story. Why are we here? Why did a bunch of startup people come in and build this website and build this product? Why are we giving you this offer? Even when you do, what is the product? What is the product? It's an amazing product that does 1, 2, 3 because we want you to be happy, because we want to help you solve your problem, your why. The story is always why. Who are the team? This is guy and this guy and this guy, because this is the team that will help you reach your goal. It's one story, and the story is always the same. It's a story of why this is here. And last, and I talked about this a little bit, don't try and reinvent the wheel. So a lot of young startup website designers try to be amazing and new and flashy. And they want to have a landing page that when you appear on it, it has a sheep and a chicken. And you have to think which one you're supposed to click, the sheep or the chicken. And then the sheep starts in a big graphic of jumping up and down, and it turns into, it's just crazy. It's beautiful, it's funny, it's great, it won't work, and people will run away because people want to see what's familiar. So you can be new sometimes, but if things are not familiar, if a button that's supposed to be sign up, if a button that's supposed to be login, if login isn't at the top right, I'll be confused, because that's where login is usually. If the logo is not at the top left, I'll be confused. If I click on the logo and it puts me in a sign up page instead of the main page, I will be confused. So you should know what the customers are expecting, and you should know where they have to put their what their conventions are. An email icon is for email, message icons for message, and so on. Because if you play with that too much, they'll get confused and they'll get angry and they'll leave the website. That's 5 tips.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We finish our time. There is some question here, but we can answer later on straight on the comments. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much to show us that beautiful view, and we saw a little bit of Israel. I don't know how many of us went to Israel, not me. So thank you very much. I give the voice to our anchorman, Francesco.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Thank you, Omri. It was a really a pleasure for us to have you here. And thank you. Grazie a chi ci ha seguito, anche se capisco la difficoltà della lingua, però poi cercheremo di ricaricare il video con i sottotitoli, così come mi sono chiesto in privato in questi minuti da alcuni di voi, così potete seguirli più facilmente. E vi do appuntamento poi alla prossima. Ringraziamo nuovamente Omri. Thank you, Omri. And ok, ciao a tutti. Ciao ciao.
Bye.
Bye bye.